Hello friends, Matt D'Antuono here. I saw a comment recently on social media that said, why is God killing people with the coronavirus? And I thought to myself, that would be an interesting question to make a video about, to discuss, especially since I believe in God and I also believe in the coronavirus. So how can the coronavirus and God coexist, and what's going on? Is there some purpose? Why is God doing this? First of all, just to think about the question itself, it asks, why is God killing people with the coronavirus, as if God were this puppeteer behind the curtain, right behind the screen, who's making every little thing do something. It's a lot like the ancient polytheistic religions that saw the different gods doing different things, plagues, their direct interaction with the world. What it is a very immature idea of God. It's a very kind of low level, you could say, idea of what God is like and how he interacts with the world. But there are high level ideas of God that see things differently, where there is a God and he is the foundation of existence of everything, and things do exist in themselves and things do act through their own powers. And so the question could be more appropriately asked, why does God allow the coronavirus? Why is he allowing the coronavirus to kill people? Well, in a way, we all die, and so God is allowing some people to die by the coronavirus, and eventually he's going to allow all of us to die. So coronavirus or not, we're all going to die. And I don't mean to say that in a crass way, because I realize there's a lot of suffering going on, and I don't want to demean that. But if we're going to talk about God and suffering and the coronavirus, then we want to talk about it and think about it critically and rationally as well. So what we're really asking is, why does God allow suffering, and why does God allow evil? This is just a specific case of it, but the broad question, why does God allow evil in the first place? Some people use this problem of evil as a way to argue against the existence of God. Thomas Aquinas, in his Summa Theologiae, only lists two arguments for why God does not exist. He then goes on to prove that God does exist, but he starts off with the objections. And the strongest objection is the problem of evil. And he puts it this way: if there is such a thing as infinite goodness, then there can be no evil. But there is evil, therefore there is no infinite goodness, there is no God. Other people put it this way: you come up with the three characteristics of God, that God is all-powerful, all-knowing, and all-good. First of all, if God is all-good, he would prevent evil, he wouldn't allow it. If he's all-knowing, then he knows about it, and he can know when to prevent it. And if he's all-powerful, then he has the power to prevent it. But really, what those arguments do is they just prove to us that there's a particular kind of God that does not exist. The God who would prevent evil at all costs does not exist. What it doesn't tell us, though, is that there's no other kind of God that exists. Thomas Aquinas, quoting St. Augustine, answers the objection this way. He says that God would not allow evil unless he could bring out of it some greater good. The goodness of God allows evil to occur so that he can bring out of it some greater good. Now, in each individual case, what is that good? We don't know. But it does bring up now the question of goodness. If we're going to accuse God of not being good, well, what is goodness? What does that really mean? Well, when we look at ourselves, there are various goods that we enjoy. Comfort, food, those kinds of things, the health of body. These are parts of our body and our surroundings that are good for us. But there are other goods as well that were discussed very much by the ancient Greek philosophers, the medieval philosophers, and those are the goods of the interior, you could say of the character, of who and what we are. If we are a miserable, angry, selfish person, we will not be happy no matter what our surroundings are. And so oftentimes God can allow evil to wake us up to those greater realities and to the better things. Now, all of this is purely philosophical. I haven't been referring to the Bible or specifically Christianity. This is all the work of just philosophy, to think critically about the nature of God and the nature of our own existence. But I think it's important to take a look at Christianity and the God that Christianity presents to us. He's not a God who goes to any extent to prevent evil. Instead, he allows it. And The other thing that disturbs us about God allowing evil, I think, is we imagine God off and away, either behind the curtain controlling, which is an immature, low-level idea of God, or he's off in the distance enjoying his heavenly realm while we're down here suffering. But Christianity presents for us a God who came down to us and became one of us and suffered and died on the cross for us. He didn't stay separate and apart. He shows us his love and his care by becoming one of us and suffering with us. He embraced the suffering and transformed it. He allowed that suffering to take place to himself, and then he transformed it into the greatest good mankind can know, salvation. And the ultimate good for us is to know and love God and to be loved by him, and to be the kind of person that can be loved by God, that allows God's love to enter into us. God is not separate and apart. He shows us how much he loves us. I understand also that the coronavirus attacks the lungs. When somebody is crucified, what eventually kills them is the failing of the lungs. The lungs fill with fluid, the diaphragm stops working from exhaustion, and all those muscles that control the lungs just give out. Christ has suffered with us, and he demonstrates his love for us. We're not alone. God is not separate and apart and indifferent to what we're going through. So why is God allowing the coronavirus? In each particular individual case, I don't know. But I do know that his goodness allows for the possibility that he's going to bring some greater good out of this. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative. If you enjoyed it, please check out my books, and I'll see you soon. God bless.